What's the dumbest thing you believed as a kid? Story 1. Don't drink and drive meant all drinks. My dad was super confused when I told him he wasn't allowed to have any soda until we got home. Reply. Haha, I did the same thing. I vividly remember staring at my dad after we got in truck after purchasing some canned sodas at a convenience store. He popped his can open and we started to move. I gasped and told him, "You can't drink and drive." I think I was 6 or 7. Reply 2. Some friend's dad managed to convince us that he had a condition where he had a negative blood alcohol content and needed 1 beer to get to 0.00. I mean, we were dumb kids, but that was a particular dumb moment in hindsight. Reply 3. Pretty sure that's called alcoholism law. Story 2. Cats are girls and dogs are boys. Reply. There is no way to disprove it. Have you ever seen a cat penis? Reply 2. You'd be shocked as to how many people still believe this. When I was in college, I bought a male cat, and virtually everyone assumed it was a girl. The only people who didn't were the Muslim kids. Story 3. That songs played on the radio were being played live each time they came on. Smashing Pumpkins song at 2 a.m.? Assumed they got out of bed for it. My parents never corrected me on that theory. Reply. For the longest time I didn't know music videos were lip-synced. Reply 2. One time I saw a music video where the lip-syncing didn't quite match up and I got pissed that the artist was cheating. Story 4. Still waiting for that watermelon in my stomach to come out. Reply. Hopefully before I digest that gum I swallowed 7 years ago. Story 5. My grandfather told me that any time I saw a group of streets named after people, like Stephen Street or Jennifer Road or whatever, that it was because there was a school bus accident there and those were the names of all the kids who died. I really thought school bus accidents were a silent epidemic. Reply. Your grandfather is something else, man. I laughed way too hard at this. Reply 2. Funny part is Grandpa probably made it up on the spot and didn't even realize the significant core memory he was making. Reply 3. My partner, her family in Texas, they owned a large piece of land, so the road her and most of her family lives on still is their last name. She told me it was up to about 3rd grade before she realized everyone doesn't live on the road that is their family name. Story 6. My mom convinced me when I was like 4 that alcohol was poisonous for kids because their bodies couldn't process it. Anytime she didn't want to share something with me, ice cream, chocolate, anything beer battered, etc., she would tell me that there was alcohol in it and I would get sick and die. That's not the embarrassing part though. The embarrassing thing is that I believed her. Until I was 12 and she tried to tell me that the Girl Scout candy that I had sold her had alcohol in it. Reply. I don't hate that lie except that she applied it to everything. And it is a poison. Story 7. My dad goes for a run every morning, usually through the ravine. He once told me that he saw the filming of Shrek in the ravine on his run. Believed it for years, before I actually thought about it when it was about 20. Shrek is animated. Even worse, I'm pretty sure this whole exchange never even happened. I think I just dreamed my dad told me that. It doesn't seem like something my dad would make up. Reply. Mine is slightly similar. When I was little, my uncle said the majority of your body heat escapes from your feet. Sometimes I still question it even though I know it's wrong. Better yet, he doesn't even remember telling me that. Story 8. I was a big talker when I was 7. My parents told me I should have my own talk show. One morning I snuck into the living room into the shelf where we kept our blank tapes and I wrote my name on one of the labels. I thought that all I had to do to have my own show was to write my name on the tape. No studio bosses, no interviews, no camera. Just my name in pencil on a label and I would magically appear on the screen from behind a large curtain like Leno. Reply. I thought the same but with checks. I remember asking my granny, so why can't you just write me a check for $100 and then I can have some money? Reply 2. Don't feel bad, there is a lot of adults that think that way about economy. Story 9. When I was in the first grade, I walked to school. I believed that when I left, my mom would move the grandfather clock to the side, revealing a secret video monitor, and she would watch me as I walked to school and while I was in class as well as when I walked home. I thought her asking me about my day was a test to see how honest I was. This was in 1984. Also, we don't have and have never had a grandfather clock. Reply. The last line made me spit out my ice cream. Story 10. When I was about 6 or so, I asked my dad what the button on the top of the clock by my bed was for. He said it was for the alarm. From then on, I was afraid to push it because I thought it would call the fire department. Reply. That's actually adorable. Story 11. I thought Jennifer Lopez was named Jennifer Lopez. Reply. Along the same lines, I thought the Pulitzer Prize was the Pulitzer Prize. Reply 2. I thought Jehovah's Witness was Jehovah's Sweetness. I was thoroughly confused as a child. Story 12. I thought shoplifting was like weightlifting, only instead of weights, people were lifting the entire store building. I pictured big, burly, bald men that liked to go around heaving store buildings overhead, grunting and red-faced, like the weightlifters I'd seen on TV. I was afraid someone would try do it while we were out shopping. I wondered what would happen if the store tilted or tipped while the shoplifter was holding it in the air. Would we go rolling to the corner? I tried to ask my mother, but of course, she had no clue what I was talking about. Reply. Whenever the phone rang at my grandparents' house as a child, they'd tell me, "Don't answer it, it's a bill collector." My granddad's name is Bill, so I thought they were trying to collect him. Story 13. My mom told me we used to be apes. I believed her because she told me, but I didn't understand why there were no photos of me of when I used to be an ape. Story 14. When we're born, we're all boys. One day, a time we can't remember, we go into the woods with a knife and hunt each other. When you catch another boy, you cut his penis off, and he becomes a girl. And that's who you're going to marry when you grow up. I have since learned that this is not the case. Hey, stop. You're lovely. Subscribe. Yo.